A housewife, a home entrepreneur, and a business professional walk into a market. Each is armed with a shopping list, a budget, the ability to check for quality, the knowledge of current prices, and the skill to negotiate prices. Each woman walks out with the best products and prices because they take pride in managing their homes and businesses effectively. These women are you. You are smart, you are patient, you are disciplined, you have great management skills. You budget, you set goals, you analyze reviews, you compare pricing, you wait for sales to get the best price, and you plan your contingencies. You do what you need to manage your home, your business, and your work effectively. You should leverage these abilities to grow your wealth, your family's wealth. Start thinking of money management and investing as planning for a shopping trip, something you have done countless times. How is growing your money similar to a shopping trip? Let's break it down. Create a list. The first step you take when planning a shopping trip is creating a shopping list. You don't want to forget to buy a gift for Marcy after all. Similarly, the first step to growing your money is creating a list of short-term, medium-term, and long-term goals. Goals like traveling to the shopping mecca of the world, funding an international education for your child, buying a vacation home, and planning for retirement. Your goal list, like your shopping list, is a roadmap that should help you stay on track and achieve your goals. Budget. The second step you take is deciding a budget. You can't buy cricket tickets for everyone if you don't have enough money to cover costs. Similarly, the second step to growing your money is deciding how much you can invest every month after paying for essentials such as groceries, utility bills, etc. By setting an investment budget like a shopping budget, you can systematically invest every month and become a disciplined investor. Budget allocation. The third step you take is determining how much money to spend on each purchase. You allocate funds based on importance. For example, buying school books for your child commands a bigger portion of your shopping budget, while replacing curtains in your living room commands a smaller portion. Similarly, the third step to growing your money is dividing your assets. For example, you can allocate a higher amount to buy a smartphone in 6 months and a smaller amount to buy a car in 4 years. Once you achieve your goal, you can reallocate these funds to a different goal based on importance or urgency. Market research. The fourth step you take is research. You read reviews and compare prices to ensure you are buying the right product at the right price. Similarly, the fourth step to growing your money is determining which fund can help you achieve each goal. For example, if your goal is to build wealth over the long term, an equity fund might suit your needs. However, if you want to buy a smartphone in 6 to 8 months, a liquid fund or a debt fund might suit your needs. Just like when you shop, researching the different types of funds available and aligning your goals to a fund can potentially help you achieve your goals. Stay invested. The fifth step you take is being patient. You wait for an annual sale to buy a better quality product for a lower price. Similarly, the fifth step to growing your money is being patient and staying invested until it is time to achieve your goal. Don't let market fluctuations make your decisions. Do your research and make informed decisions before withdrawing from a fund. By staying invested, you aim to achieve your goals. And lastly, inflation and contingencies. Before you head off on your shopping trip, you plan for contingencies. Prices fluctuate over time, and having a contingency amount in your budget can help prevent you from going home empty-handed. Similarly, when planning to invest, you should account for inflation. By following the same steps you take when planning a shopping trip, you can start managing your money effectively and investing smartly. You are a smart, capable woman. Take charge of your financial future today and aim to build a better future for you and your family. An investor education and awareness initiative by Aditya Birla Sun Life Mutual Fund. Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us today for yet another edition of the Economic Times Money Gurukul. Since the Women's Day week has already begun, and we're all looking forward to celebrating the International Women's Day, today we are going to talk about women and family finances. We have a power-packed panel of speakers with us today who will help us understand the subject of personal finances and why is it necessary for women to understand money management. Having the basic personal financial skills is extremely important to live a healthy, happy, and secure life. One should understand the fundamentals of savings, debt, budgeting, and investing, as it will impact every part of their lives. Women in India have been taking huge strides in breaking through the glass ceilings across industries. From managing their households to managing businesses and becoming industry leaders, we have witnessed a major shift in their role over the years. We have seen examples of women taking career breaks at times due to some or the other reason, which makes it important for them to make investment decisions wisely so that they can be financially independent. Investing and managing money might mean different things to different women. A greater number of women in India are now taking the ownership of their money and investing more as compared to 2020, when the pandemic ravaged the economy and hit household budget. While women have come a long way in terms of achieving financial independence, there still is a long way to go. In today's session, our speakers will touch upon the points why women should understand money management. What exactly is money management? Is money management different for women? How can women understand the subject of personal finances? Let me now introduce you to our speakers that we have lined up today. We have with us Mr. K.S. Rao. He is the Senior Vice President and Head Investor Education and Distribution Development at Aditya Birla Sun Life Mutual Fund. Joining him is Mr. Amit Trivedi, who is an author, speaker, blogger, and trainer. And we also have Ms. Kiran Telang with us today, who is a certified financial planner, investment advisor at SEBI. This discussion is going to provide the listeners with a lot of food for thought and inspiration in money management. So over to you, Mr. K.S. Rao, to take things further.
Thanks, Ms. Dimple. Thank you so much for that introduction. Thanks for setting the context very rightly. And it's awesome to have everyone. Good evening. Indeed, it's an honor to be part of this session with Kiran and Amit and Dimple at ET Money Gurukul. And give me a minute. Thanks for joining us. It's indeed great to have each one of you. We will ensure first 10 to 15 minutes. I'll quickly run through a small presentation. After that, we have a questions. We will have a conversations with Kiran and Amit, who can help us to understand, decode how women can manage money better. And this year, it's like as Dimple was mentioning a while ago, International Women's Day. We are celebrations are already on, and it's in fact it's the 90th year of Women's Day celebrations. This year, the topic and the theme chosen was "Choose to Challenge." It's if I can put it in acronym, it is a CTC. It is not just a contribution, but here this CTC is for women CTC to the world. Women contribution to the community is so big. And let us understand how we can manage money, what exactly we are going to do. Here is a small presentation from our side. Yeah. Thanks for joining us again. It's like we have two of the best personalities coming and going to discuss with us. And the whole agenda is why should women understand money and what exactly the money management, and how that money management is that different for men and women, or how can a woman understand the subject of the personal finance. We cover it up in the next 45 minutes to 1 hour, and then we can take all your questions. Feel free to put your questions in Q&A. We will try to answer as many questions as possible. I really thank ET Money Gurukul for making this platform to speak to each one of you month after month. I think this is the 11th episode which we are coming to talk to you, and it is what an apt topic to look at. It's an International Women's Day, and it's and why, research shows women are better at multitasking. It's always they are good, you are good at multitasking, and you and when it is they are good at multitasking, how they are good at multitasking, and the women, the qualities when we look at some of those attributes, it's whether it's emotional intelligence, perseverance, or ability to multitask, or managing the relations, or adaptability, humility, and they score over men in any way. In such case, how they score over on the money management, that's where we need to look at in today's context and today's topic. And what happens it once it comes to money, and it has been proved. I mean, there is a research, there is a study which shows there are only 20% of the women today in India. This is a study from World Bank which says they are financially literate. Probably this study is little dated of 2018, and incidentally, there are only 20% of the women is part of the workforce. Probably rest of them, they may not have the, we can define in the financial literacy terms, but they are definitely financially literate. I go back to my own family. In my great grandmother, I used to see, when my grandfather used to run a Gurukul, I mean, not the money Gurukul, but the true Gurukul. I mean, she used to manage entire ashram, and that's where they used to manage, and it was not an easy job. And I could see many women today coming back and managing their finances. And it is the money is after all, it is a it's like, it's a life. If the life is a journey, money is a tool. We all need to understand how we can manage our money and what we need to do it. And but today, majority of the women, they depend on the men for the finances of the family, and for money management, many women tend to postpone, and they stick to their household budgets, but they can't go beyond managing the money. And my friend, good friend Kiranji will talk to us today why women need to take those results, but why it happens to us, why they postpone. I mean, what is the study? There is a natural, there is somebody said it's a, there is a misnomer. There's a natural discomfort for the with the numbers, and investment and finance put off by many because they don't like numbers. But I personally feel this is a misnomer. I mean, it's like if I can go back and see, this is Shakuntala Devi, who was known for a human computer. I mean, she was world-renowned human computer. I mean, she was too good at numbers. And if we can talk about Mission Mangal, I mean, most of them who accomplished are the women scientists. And when it comes to even the controlling the COVID-19, it is the women who made the difference. And in that case, when they are accomplishing in every field, how we can think that they are not good at math? And probably there is somewhere, they have not bothered that about. And what is that? You have every skill. Like that, money management is one of those life skills. And this life skill is the most important to make everything happen. And how do you need to manage? And this is one skill make the difference, and it will have an interconnect with other one. This one life skill can lead you to the financial freedom. It could be a financial independence. It could be it's not only the net worth. It is also increasing the self worth, and it makes every one of us. It is a future ready. Probably all that is a mindset we need to change, that we can manage money. And why women need to manage money today? It's what is the most important thing. And it's like, there is a study which is conducted, which they say there are 85 years old and above women are double the number of the men. And it's like, women tend to live longer, 6 to 8 years more than the men. And that's where, your longevity of life, and you need to manage sometimes maybe independently on your own. And average woman always lives little longer than men. And it's also, there is a study, it is going to be in the next 40 years, 70% of the wealth is going to be inherited by the women. And it's a simple reason, that's where you need to take care of handling the money. That leads you to empowering yourself, and it's also enriching. Of course, you are already, I mean, it makes you better, and it boosts morale, it boosts confidence, and it's increased definitely a self-worth and lead to the net worth. And financial independence helps in any case. But tomorrow we don't know which event can happen. With any unfortunate event, you can handle things very well, and you can support family. And this is one skill can make all the difference. And it's a what exactly the money management, we'll have a long discussions. It's a how you manage your household cash flow. Similar way, you can look at your income, expenses, and a small budget, how you can manage it, and how you can save for your future. And it's like, money management, it is like, it is the family finances or individuals. The question comes, the debate comes, and situations and emotions could be different whether money management is common, and money does not discriminate between men and women. And it's all that, what we need to do is we can go back and manage our money in such a way according to our financial goals. Probably age of life and stage of life could be different, and accordingly our management style could be very different. And it is like, whether your financial needs and your emotional appeal, how you can get caught between, how you can look at things in a very differently. And there are many special women-centric products, which we'll have an elaborate discussions with Amit and Kiranji on this. You have a special bank account, special credit card, special investment options, and you have a life insurance policies to health insurance. And it's all that which will support to you. And but all that, the basic financial literacy is one need to understand the bank account, how that leverage can work, how the credit and debit cards works. And these are the basic literacy we all need to do it. But fundamental principles of the personal finance is earnings is minus savings is equal to expenses. And most of the times we tend to look at earnings minus expense is equal to the savings. Probably we need to change that equation and focus on the financial goals, not on the market. Then investing rightly according to the goals makes a all difference. And understanding the difference between the savings and investment. And women are great savers. How we can convert women from the great saver to the great investors, that could be the most important thing which we can look at. And savings are the precursor to the investment, and investment will make you to accomplish your life goals. And only savings may not beat the inflation, but investing rightly will beat the inflation and help you to reach your goals. And it's all what we need to look at is your short-term, medium-term, long-term goals. Probably we can have a debate and we can look at. And for women, there are many stages of life. Probably you need to take utmost care at each of the stage. Something is different. The priority may undergo change, and whole scenario may undergo change. And it could be a young and single. It could be a married and working. It's a homemaker, and it's a mom with a child, or a single mom, or it could be taking care of the parents, and working woman with the elderly parents. But each of the stages, how we need to handle your money very differently. We will have a conversation with Kiran on this. Then we can, how with this. And today we will talk about various investment options we have. We have mutual funds, fixed deposits, golds, bonds, and real estate. And which are the avenues suitable, and how is that asset allocation work? And predominantly I come from the mutual fund. I say the mutual fund is the easiest way for any one of us to invest. One, in terms of the flexibility, simplicity, and the accessibility, which is easier. And your risk management is taken care, and your professional managers will manage money, and you have a liquidity, and you have a tax benefit, and you can invest with as simple as with a small money too. And let us go around how the principles of investing will work. We can go on the conversations totally from how the diversification can help you better, what is an asset allocation you need to have, what kind of risk and rewards you need to look at, and how you need to determine. And how the various investments, how you need to automate your investments. It could be a SIP way, or it could be a systematic transfer plan. It could be when you are managing systematic withdrawal plan. All that helping you to get the power of compounding work for you, the joy of compounding to make you rich, and making that easier, making that smarter. And the last but not the least, to conclude, it's estate planning is the most important for the family. This will help you to get a right thing to resolve, and this is what gives a lot of comfort for the asset. The succession planning can ensure tomorrow the transfer of wealth go appropriately. And last but not again, it's the charity may be the key thing, and that will also gives you not only the tax relief, tax benefit, but it helps. Let us understand each of these, how we can decode. And before I conclude, this is the last slide from my side. I mean, who said woman is not good at savers, would and all. This is a one small story from Anna Scheber, who is an American IRS auditor. And with a small money over a period of 51 years, when she put that money into an account, and which has yielded as a power of compounding, and she can make some 22 millions, which she donates to Shiva University. Means, this story tells us, one, you need to save, start early, and let the power of compounding work, and you can contribute to the society, and where your patience and perseverance makes all the difference. And this is where we look at, and this is a International Women's Day, happy International Women's Day, and which is happy investing. And this is a Women's Day, it's the choose to challenge. Let us challenge the notion that women cannot manage money, but women can comfortably manage money. And with this, I'll stop, and I'll invite Kiran and Amit to the forum. Thank you so much, Kiranji, and thanks, Amit, for being here.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Great to have you both, and especially for it's a woman conversation with women. We have more questions to Kiranji today, and it's glad to be part of Money Gurukul and have you here, Kiranji. And Kiranji, just to run through that presentation and taking through clues through that. And can you explain why should women understand money management? And what is money management for them?
Yeah, so money management is actually, it's a jargon, I would say. So money management is nothing but using your money for your needs. It's as simple as that. So using your money for your needs includes everything. So what are you earning? What are you using for today's needs? What are you keeping for tomorrow's needs? So what you're keeping for tomorrow's needs is your investment, basically. So it is actually a very simple thing. There are bits and pieces which are like parts of a puzzle which need to fit together. So how much you need to save, how much you need to invest, where you need to invest, how you need to protect yourself and your investments. So all these are part of the jigsaw puzzle of what we call money management, and everything comes together to ensure that you are able to lead your life the way you want to. You're able to have money when you really need it for whatever your dreams, aspirations, your responsibilities. So that is what money management is about. Why it becomes more important for women, as we saw in the presentation earlier, there are several reasons. One of them being longevity. So women are going to live longer. So it's not a good idea to leave everything to the men in the house. So there is a very high probability that at some point of time, the woman will have to take charge of her money and manage it singly. Though it might not sound so great. I mean, you don't want to look at that kind of situation, but we have this data with us which shows that there are a lot of women which have to handle. Also, from the other point of view, we see that a lot of child, I mean, they would also inherit a huge amount of money. So they should be aware of how to manage their money. Otherwise, it's very easy to squander it away. So one generation earns it, and the second generation might, if they don't understand, they might just squander it away, and they might lose it to fraud or things like that. So it is very, very essential that all women know how to handle their money. It is not necessary that you know all the nitty-gritties, what form to fill, where to sign, and all those kind of things. So you have people who can help you do that. But you understand the broad perspective of what you're doing, why you're doing it, does it fit into your entire life picture? So as long as those bigger components are in place, the smaller things you can get it done from outside help. I mean, you can engage professionals to take care of the nitty-gritties of money management.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kiran, for that wonderful answer. I mean, rightly, there are many financial advisors who can always help for anything you need, and women need to look at, managing the wealth and creating the wealth. That's true. And I'll go back to Amit. Amit, when we are talking about money management, can you also narrate? Can you tell us a little more detail? What could be the building blocks of this money management?
So first of all, happy International Women's Day to all the listeners, and thank you very much for this initiative, both ET Money Gurukul and Aditya Birla Sun Life Mutual Fund, for this wonderful session that we've in. I'll carry forward from where Kiran was mentioning that money management is actually about taking care of your today's needs as well as taking care of your future needs. Now, if that's the case, the first and foremost thing is to decide that these needs lead to some expenses, and that's how money comes in. So we need to spend some money. Some of the things we say current expenses, some of we call financial goals. Financial goals are nothing but deferred expenses. So list down the goals, and these goals are nothing but decisions that you take in order to live a life of your choice. Let's say if I want to buy a house, what kind of a house I want to live in? That's my a dream house. Now, how much would I need for that dream house? And that can be converted into a financial goal. Or Kiran was talking about retirement. What kind of retired life that I'm looking forward to? Or a couple of examples that you mentioned in your presentations are about, let's say, a woman thinking of starting her own business. What is that business? So list down those goals, list down those needs, and then convert them into financial goals by assigning amount and time. So that's the primary part of the whole equation as far as building blocks. And then prioritize those goals in terms of how much important which goal is, how critical it is, because some goals are absolute responsibilities and some goals are good to have. So you prioritize in that manner. Then also prioritize in terms of the timeline. So as Stephen Covey loves to say, the urgent and important task when it comes to time management. In goals also you define goals in terms of urgent and important. Focus more on the important ones, and then look at the urgent in terms of financing those. That's where investments would come in. But before we get onto investments, a few things need to be taken care of, because if I want to secure my long term, I have to secure my short term first. And that short term can be secured through, number one, a contingency fund, number two, various insurance products, which are health insurance, critical illness insurance, disability insurance, life insurance, and then the short to medium term financial needs and the long term financial needs. So that's how you prioritize. These are the building blocks. So just to sum it up, start with goals, then look at prioritizing the goals. Number 3, contingency fund. Number 4, insurance. Number 5, investment. And then I loved last few slides of yours, and so would add there 2 important angles that we need to put in is charity. If we are in a better position today, let's add charity as one of our financial goals, number 1. And number 2, after I'm gone, how do I distribute money to my next generation? And that's where succession planning comes in. And these are simple things. This does not require anybody to be PhD in finance and economics. Any lay person can do it.
Thanks, Amit. It's very interesting and on the building blocks. But I'll take this question forward to Kiranji. I mean, Kiranji, when we talk about these financial goals, it's a generic term, and these financial goals some of them are most significant. Do you feel some of them some of these goals which are unique to women?
See, traditionally, when we look at a financial plan for a family, the typical goals would be, say, buying a house, buying a vehicle, providing for children's education, their marriage, and the couple's retirement. So these are typical goals. But apart from this, for women, I mean, even for men for that matter, I mean, there could be other goals like entrepreneurship, starting your own business. So that could be one. For women, a slightly different angle would be supporting her parents, because normally in the Indian cultural scenario, once a woman is married, it is her money is primarily used to fund her married family's goals. So the parental family is nowhere in picture. So in case there is a situation where the woman would like to support her parents or her siblings financially, that could be slightly different take on her personal finances. So that is, I think, one goal which is very specific to women. Apart from this, I think women should also ensure that there is equitable asset build up. So what I mean by that is, we see that if both the couple are working, I mean, husband and wife both are working, a lot of times one salary is used to run the household and the other is building assets. So other person is investing. So that is not a very wise way to look at things, because what will happen is, in case in future there is any issue, uh, suppose the wife's salary has been used for household expenses, she has zero assets. So in case of an eventuality, she will not have any assets in her name and everything will be in the husband's name. So that is not wise. So ideally, you should be looking at, spending jointly on the family goals and then build your individual assets. So obviously in future, when you're funding your own retirement and maybe there are bigger goals which will need more assets to be sold to fund those goals, say like sending your child abroad. So in that, maybe individually both parents can, chip in and send the child abroad with whatever fee is to be paid. But individually building assets becomes very important. So that is usually ignored. And we see this so commonly. I mean, I get investment checks which are from joint accounts. So simple things, as people don't understand, the first holder has all the liability, all the taxation, and the asset is in the name of the first holder. So even if the spouse is the second holder, it does not mean the spouse is owner of that wealth. So that these are smaller nuances which women need to understand and take care that they are building their own wealth as well.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kiran, for bringing that intricacies. Even I have seen some cases in the pandemic time. It's like both of them are working. and incidentally spouse, she has lost her job, and the entire house loan was paid by her. And the challenge is, you can't pay the EMI and other goals are coming at a loss, and it's a very painful situation. But there is a follow-up question to you is like, women having these specific goals. Is there is a way to accomplish the goals? Most of the times we set those goals, but how that accomplishing of the goals can happen? And sometimes there is an uncertainty of income.
Right. So Amit had already kind of answered this question in part, wherein how do you actually go about achieving your goals? So on a broad parameter, I mean, you look at creating a protection net first. So first protect yourself by creating an emergency fund, like we saw in pandemic. Lots of people had job losses, or there was salary cut for some time. So this could impact the immediate usage of money. So if there is no money available, if you're living on your monthly salary, there isn't enough available immediately to withdraw from your bank account. There could be investments, but there would probably be lock-ins, or if you've invested in real estate, you can't obviously sell it at a day's notice and get money for your daily household routine. So create a contingency fund. Look at other risks in your life. So what happens if somebody in the family is hospitalized? So how will you take care of that eventuality? So in that situation, your health insurance can come to help you. If there is any kind of disability, say if there is an accident where you're not able to go to work for a longish period, so you could have paid medical leave from your employer, and you could probably extend that leave for some time without salary. But that might impact finances, because there could be EMIs, there would be children's school fee which will be going. So in that scenario, how you're going to fund that? So one of the insurance policies is known as personal accident cover, which comes to help in such time. So you can look at this kind of policy. And of course, there should be life insurance, because if one income earner is not there, there should be no compromise on the family goals. So that is where the life insurance policy comes handy. So first you set up all these things, and after that you look at investing. Because what will happen if you reverse the thing? So everybody, all of your friends are say investing, and they are making good money, and you feel that you've missed out. There's this fear of missing out. It's known as FOMO. And you just jump in and start investing money without taking care of all these previous steps. If there is any of these events, if they happen, you will not have enough money to meet those needs. Say a contingency fund is not available, or a health insurance policy is not available, you will have to withdraw your investments and make good those needs. So there is no use of investing before taking protection in place. So protect your requirements first, and then start building. Within building, again, we have seen in the presentation, even Amit spoke about it. Define your goals first. What is that you will need in the next 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, or what is something which is very far away? If your kid is very small, you're planning for the kids' higher education, so that will be maybe a decade or more away. So, break down your goals into these bits and pieces, where it will be short-term goals, medium-term goals, and long-term goals, and then try and align the products to these goals. So that way you will not go wrong. You will not buy stocks or equity for a goal which is 3 years down the line, which is a very short period. And you will not look at probably a debt fund for a 15-year goal. You would be equity heavy in that kind of goal. So breaking down your goals into these time frames will help you decide what product is suitable.
Yeah, thank you so much for that detailed answer. I'll shift it to Amit now. Amit, when it comes to the products, like, there are many products in the financial markets, and are there any women-centric products? And if there are something, some of these products, how important for women to part of their financial plan to invest in those products?
So brilliant question, sir. There are actually a lot of products which are available, and there are considered as women-centric products. Now, one has to look at it in terms of whether it actually satisfies a proper need, or is there only an emotional appeal? Because some of the products do have only the emotional appeal, whereas there are certain situations, especially on the insurance side, where women have certain specific requirements. Then those specific products could be better. Or let's say another scheme which is launched by the government of India called Sukanya Samruddhi Yojana, which is for the girl child. Now those kind of schemes could be really good, which are helping women. Or on the loan side, some of the governments offered some discount in the registration fees, or there are some loans, business loans, where women entrepreneurs get lower rates. Those are better products because there is a specific benefit of those products. Otherwise, most of the needs can be satisfied, whether it is men or women, through the common standard products, a combination of various products. But at this juncture, I would like to highlight one particular point, and maybe at some stage, Kiran, if you want to elaborate on that. There is one particular act called the Married Women's Property Act. And under that, if the insurance policy is assigned to the woman, then nobody can touch that money. That is a sole property of the lady in whose name the assignment of the policy has been made. So there are certain provisions which are really women-centric and good. But just to go back on what Kiran said, it's always better to ensure that you maintain your books in separate manner, so that the assets are built up in the name of the woman. But you do not need only women-centric products for that.
Thanks, Amit. I think I'll change the gear to Kiranji. Kiranji, this will be a question about homemakers. And today there are 20% of the people who are working, but 80% of the women are considered to be homemakers today. And in this period of time, how these homemakers they rarely look at what is the income coming, and I know where the spending is going, but they are busy in their family work. And what is your suggestions for them to manage the money, and how they need to involve in the conversations at home, and what is the your guidance for them to have that financial independence to them at a later part of the life?
Right. What you're saying is true. So a lot of women are still homemakers, and a lot of women do take breaks from their career and take care of their family at home. So in these cases, my suggestion is that get involved in the family finances, know what is coming in, what is going out, know who are the people who are handling this money for you. There could be, family CAs or financial advisors who are in touch with your husband or the extended family. I mean, if you're living in a joint family. So be aware of these people, have conversations with them, at least in case there is a situation where you have to handle money alone, or if there is a problem. You will know whom to contact, because you might not understand the finer things of how investments are made. There is no stopping you. If you wish to learn, there are several resources which you can use. You can go to blogs, you can read Economic Times, or other papers like these which are available. You can read basic books on finance which are available. There are so many webinars happening these days. You can listen to those webinars and pick up small points and go deeper in areas where you want to learn. So there is no dearth of resources these days to learn. But you have to be aware of what is happening in the family with the money. Though you might not have your own income. I mean, you might, maybe if you're doing some jobs, like if you're an entrepreneur, if you're doing home tuitions, or if you have a cooking thing, where you earn your own money. So that can be invested in your name, but you would very well be aware that as a homemaker, you might not have a separate income apart from what you have got through your marriage, or if you have any inheritance which has been given. So just being aware, becoming a joint holder in all the investments that your husband is making, that will kind of protect you in case there is an issue later on. And like Amit was mentioning, the Married Women's Property Act. So this is basically a facility given to protect the rights of women. So when the husband is taking a life insurance policy, he has to declare that he wants to take the policy under the Married Women's Property Act. So the policy proceeds in case of the death of the husband will go only to the wife who's named in that policy. So it is for the benefit of the wife and the children. So even if, say, in a business family, if there are any people who have to be paid off if the business is being wound up, this portion of the money will not be touched. So there is this benefit where the woman is absolutely sure that this is the money that will come to her in the worst case scenario. So there are these things which you need to be aware of and take care of, getting involved and staying involved, knowing the people who are taking care of your family finances.
Here is one question I would like to ask is, you may have many of the clients, and some of your clients are single income group where husband is working and wife is a homemaker. And in such case, if you need to advise, now we are talking about the woman empowerment and women need to take the empowerment. You take the leading role. Is there is an instance you can quote or that you are guiding a husband, you need to handle not only money well and you need to educate your spouse also on this to involve her. Were there any instances around?
Oh, it's in these instances are abound, it's not only the women who are homemakers, but women who are very highly educated, even doctors and scientists who are earning their own money, but they're not taking care of, they're not getting involved in investment. So they leave it to their husband. So we have cases where the husband wants the wife to learn, but she refuses. So this is also a mindset of the woman in terms of, I don't understand money. It's too jargonized, or numbers is something which I am not comfortable with. You can become a doctor, you can become a scientist, and you can't handle numbers. I mean, I don't get it. It's not that difficult. I mean, everybody has done basic maths in school. So it's not that difficult. Actually, it's only a mindset that you have to overcome. So once that mindset is overcome, you should be able to go ahead. I mean, obviously, there are two parts to it. There are certain families where the family itself would not like the women to get involved in money matters. So money is taboo. Discussion of money in the family is taboo. So that is a societal issue which will take a lot of time to overcome. But as far as the woman's own mindset, I mean, she can just take the first step. I mean, it's not that difficult. Initially, anything that you learn, anything new that you learn, if you're going swimming, you're learning cycling. Remember when you learned cooking, it was difficult. I mean, what kind of chapatis you used to make when you first, learned cooking. So it is always difficult in the beginning. But as you go along, you gain the expertise, you start understanding what are things, and it's not that difficult. And when it comes to money, it is for your family, for yourself, for your children. So what is more important than that?
Thank you so much, Kiran, for
Sir,
it.
just to add to that, we keep hearing a lot about money management is difficult and difficult to understand. But let's also understand that one of the aspects of money management, one of the components of money management was never taught to anybody, and nobody complains, and that is spending. So if I can pick up spending, I should be able to easily pick up saving. And if I can easily pick up saving, a little care, and I can do investments also properly. I just need to take some help whenever I'm stuck.
That's fabulous. Now, I'll come with the next question to you only. I mean, now
Sir.
if somebody started investing, I comes from the mutual fund one. Are there any specific mutual funds for the women to invest? And is there any women-specific, women-centric mutual fund schemes in the country?
At one point in time, there used to be one particular specific scheme for women, but I don't think there is any as of now. And my sense is we don't even need one. Eventually, mutual fund is not a product. It is an investment vehicle where the investor is outsourcing the job of investment management to a team of professionals. And this team of professionals are better equipped in terms of doing research on what kind of portfolio to build. They have better discipline and rules. The regulator has also, strengthened the rules such that the investor is sufficiently protected, as well as the team of experts, which is the mutual fund company, also does the administrative and accounting work related to the portfolio management or investment management. So to that extent, what mutual fund offers is a great outsourcing job. And then to that extent, the moment I've defined my requirements, my objectives, my needs, finding solutions from the basket of mutual funds schemes is not that difficult. So we don't need specific women-centric products. Having said that, there is no product where women can't invest also.
That's nice. But when I'll go back to Kiran from where you left, Kiran, if there are many mutual fund schemes, how to select the right mutual fund if there is a woman is managing the money for herself and the family and she owns it? Is there any approach you would suggest, or can you guide on that?
Yeah, on a very simple approach to take, as I mentioned earlier, was first you know what you're saving for. So the money is being invested for a certain requirement, which is going to come up sometime in the future. So how soon is that requirement going to come up? say if you're planning for a down payment of a house that you're buying and the down payment is due, maybe you're going to buy the house in the next 2 years. So for a 2-year period, you should be looking at something which is not very volatile. So if you put money today and if it falls, if you're putting it into stock markets is very volatile. So the money might, reduce. I mean, the market crashes, your money might even become half at certain point. So you don't look at those kind of products for periods which are very short. So usually equity or stock market related period, we generally recommend a minimum period of 5 years, longer the better, so 7 years plus is even better. So all your long-term goals, you should be looking at products which are related to equity, whether you're investing directly in stocks or you're using ETFs or you're using equity mutual funds. So these are all long-term products. Now, for all your short-term needs, it could be, say, something 6 months down the line, something 2 years down the line, or maybe 4 years down the line. So for very short-term periods, I mean, there are categories of mutual funds which are specifically suited to requirements which are below 1 year, say something like a liquid fund or an ultra short fund. These are debt funds which are not very volatile. They will not give you a very great return. It will be something similar to your bank fixed deposit rates, a little here and there. So the returns will not be great, but there'll be less volatility and there'll be less chances of you losing money. So if your requirement is within the next 1 year, look at these kind of products. If it is a little beyond that, you can maybe look at a category called short-term debt funds or a medium-term debt funds, depending on the time period available to you. So these are broad frameworks of how you can select mutual funds. And within mutual funds, again, I mean, there are other sections like maybe sectoral or thematic funds. Now, what these funds do is invest in a particular sector, but to get to those schemes, you need to understand a particular sector. Say if you're saying pharma sectoral fund or a IT fund. So you need to have some basic understanding of these sectors and only then go into it. For somebody who's starting investment, I don't think sectoral funds would be a good idea. A proper diversified equity mutual fund would be a better choice in such cases.
Thanks, Kiran. Thanks for it. And Amit, I'll come back to you. When Kiranji said about the equity funds and thematic funds. And here we are talking about specific to women and investing. And, and women tend to be more emotional than the men. And at the same time, they are more patient and perseverance than the men. And now if somebody is considering investing, now let's say equity markets are at its all-time high and that asset class is very volatile. What is your suggestion for women on taking this asset class and how they can go forward investing? Probably I quote from your book, Riding the Roller Coaster Ride, how women can ride it very differently than the men.
So let's borrow the key phrase from the book itself, roller coaster. Roller coaster is going to remain the same, whether a woman sits inside or a man sits inside. The roller coaster is not going to change. The ride is not going to change. It's about us, how we handle that ride. And that's where when you use the term emotions, they play a bigger role, because the roller coaster outside in the markets is a less significant roller coaster. The bigger roller coaster is inside the mind, and how our emotions take us through that turbulence. Fear and on one hand and greed on the other, hope somewhere in between. We keep swinging between that, and that ride is a difficult one to master. I'm not even saying that we need to master it, but at least if we understand that we are going through that ride, that makes the job relatively easy. And that brings me to the discussion of the current level of equity markets at such high levels. Typically, this way people look at is equity market is already high. When is it going to crash? And that is precisely the last chapter of the book. Because somebody asked me in one of the seminars, when do you think the market is going to crash? And my answer to this person was, the day you stop thinking about the crash, that day it will crash. Okay, so, and it's not a joke, but on a serious note, it is extremely difficult to predict when some event is going to take place. Let's take two examples. Around a year back, so 23rd of March 2020, we had roughly 600 positive cases of coronavirus in India. COVID-19 in India, 600 cases, and the Sensex went down from 42,000 to 25,000. So it was down 38%. And by the end of the year, that was like end of December, we had almost 1 crore COVID cases, and the Sensex was at 50,000. So Sensex had doubled in that period. So when the cases went up, what should happen? Look at it the other way. In March last year, the economy was doing well, the GDP growth rate was positive, and then we had 2 quarters or 6 months or longer period of negative growth rate, which means the GDP went down actually in real terms, and still the stock markets went up. Now, how do we try and understand what was happening? My sense is, let's not try to understand the short-term movement of stock markets. Let's understand the basic nature of stock markets. The basic nature of stock markets is markets are volatile, markets are risky, but it is the very risk which gives you the potential to beat inflation and generate outsized returns sometimes in the process. Through equity investment and proper investment in can achieve long-term goals a little more easily, and one can create wealth a little more easily. That's the nature of equity markets. Now, if we understand that, and with that, what Kiran was mentioning, precisely why she said equity investments are for 5 years, 7 years preferably, and even longer. Shorter period, don't get into equity markets because those are extremely unpredictable. Now comes the question from, if you look at historical numbers over a 5, 7, 10-year period, if you look at any holding period of that, which is that long, equity markets have generally delivered good returns. There are instances where it's not happened, but most of the times it's happened. But it is the journey which is difficult to handle, the volatility in between which is difficult to handle. Learn to handle that. It's like my kids in the school generally do well, but in every exam, 1 or 2 questions, they would have struggled a lot. It is also possible that in 1 or 2 subjects, they might have struggled. And that happens. It's okay. Virat Kohli got out for 0 today. That happens. Learn to live with that, stay over long period, and then the markets, the asset class, the investment will take care of itself.
Fabulous anecdote, very nicely put it, Amit. But I'll have a follow-up question. And we talk about the roller coaster ride and the equity market, and you said how to handle. But I'll talk to you on the debt market and the interest rates coming down. Today, is there any option where somebody can have a safest option to invest money and reasonably get a good return? What do you suggest on the other space?
Yeah, so mixing safe and high return. That's like a misnomer. You either get absolutely safe or you get high return products. The moment somebody says that this product is very safe and also gives high returns, my simple request to everybody is hide your checkbook from this person and run away from that person, because that person is either a liar or does not know what one is talking about. You get safe products which offer lower returns, or you get products that give higher returns, but there is some risk involved. Take the so-called safest product called PPF. PPF offers very high return and it is perceived to be extremely safe. But the risk that you run there is your money is locked for a reasonably long period. Your money is safe, but you can't touch it. You can't access it. Right? So that illiquidity is also one of the risks that one needs to keep in mind. So primarily there are 3 risks. Either the prices keep going up or down, or when you've given money to somebody, the person doesn't return, or there is a liquidity issue or illiquidity like PPF. If you don't want to take any of these risks, then the only thing that you have is a savings account where money is, or actually even better than savings account is keep money at home. No risk. But having said that, now let's come to the need. Why do we need safest option with high returns? Let's divide the needs, prioritize it, and in certain cases, we'll have to go with the safest products, even at the cost of lower returns. In certain cases, we'll have to seek higher returns by embracing certain risks. And the moment we have to take certain risks, it is better to understand what risks that we are taking. And it takes me back to the first question you asked, Kiran. Why do women need to understand? And there she said, it is, and there are enough number of resources available. So go back there. If you don't understand something, you have two options. Either learn more about it and then invest, or don't touch that, stay away from it. But not learning and investing is a dangerous thing. That's what I would say. So with that, safe investment options with some degree of returns better than savings account. So there are liquid mutual funds, there are deposits in banks, and there are the certain corporate bond fund kind of mutual fund products which can be considered. These are not zero risk products, but you have a reasonable, some higher return than the savings account can be possible with some degree of risk.
Thank you so much, Amit, for that such a detailed answer. I'll go back to Kiranji. Kiranji, earlier we spoke about homemakers, but today in our audience, most of them, I think more than 100 of them are professional women. They're working, they're having their own career, and it's not an easy life for many of them to manage their career, manage their family life, and manage their finances. How do you advise for the woman who is taking care of work, and how does she need to work differently and set up the financial goals? Is that her financial goal is only a family financial goal, or is she need to distinguish and differentiate her goals very differently, some of them, and she need to plan? Then complication will come. How do you suggest in such scenario?
See, it's a very individual thing, I would say. There is no generic answer to this. So different women think differently. They have different mindsets. So for some women, everything that they do is for the family. Some women could have different thoughts on, pursuing their own interests, or having some money for their own requirements, or, some dreams and aspirations that they have had, which they wish to fulfill. So each woman is different. We cannot really categorize that, every professional woman will behave in the same manner, or for that matter, different homemakers. I mean, they also have their own mindset, and they will behave differently. It is also cultural. It is how you've been brought up. So all those factors also play an important role. Plus, what is important to understand is that all these factors will impact how a woman is behaving with the money, because how she has been brought up so far. So there are these beliefs in the mind, and that is those beliefs will come into play, and that will make her behave in a certain way with her money. For professional women, as I mentioned earlier, first of all, take care that you're building your own assets if you're having your own income. Don't mix the income of your husband and yourself into a mess, and there'll be issues, there'll be taxation issues, there will be inheritance issues. If you're not there, who inherits your money also is a question. I mean, though there are obviously succession laws in place, but it is slightly different for how women can pass on their wealth. So you have to ensure that if you're having an income, you create your own assets. It is not about creating discord or discontent in the family. We are not saying it's your money, my money, but legally also and taxation wise also, it gets complicated if you mix the two incomes. So keep it separate, build your own assets. We are not looking at it from a point of view that all marriages go bad, or all marriages will have problems. But for that one woman who has that problem out of 100, it is going to be really bad, and we don't know which women will have to face that. So it's better to protect yourself in the first place. So while you're planning for the family goals, take a financial plan in place. I mean, if you have a financial plan, you will see the big picture. You will know where, which direction you're going in. If things are okay, what you've done so far, or are there any course corrections required? What is the future requirement? How should you move ahead from here? And in case of market crashes, or where there is so much volatility in the market, there is so much information flow, you don't know what to do, your financial plan will be like an anchor for you. You will know why you have taken certain decisions, and in such a situation, what is the next step that you should do. More often than not, no action is required. I mean, but to know that no action is required, there should be some anchor, some decision that something you put in paper that, okay, this is what I'm going to do. So once that financial plan is in place, you will be more calm. You will not take irrational decisions based on emotions or what people around you are doing or what you see on news channels all the time. So that will not impact your decisions. So you will be more rooted to your real needs.
So in fact, Kiran has brought out a brilliant point about no need to do certain things at certain points in time. Many of us go for a health checkup on a regular basis. And when the reports are normal, we are actually happy when nothing is to be done. But when it comes to financial plan, when the review says nothing is to be done, and then there's some discomfort that why no change is required. But that's actually a good situation to be in. That means your portfolio is healthy. But that review or that medical health checkup is essential to know. And for that, those parameters have to be decided upfront. And those parameters are nothing but the financial plan.
Absolutely. And it is also customized. I mean, no one family is similar to the other. The requirements of all families are different. Requirements of all individuals are different. I mean, we have so many types of women clients. There are single women who are following their passion. There are women where the woman is the main income earner and the husband is a stay-at-home dad. We have those cases also. So each woman, each family is different. So you cannot have one plan fixes everything for every family. It is very, very personal.
Yeah, Kiran, I'll come back from where you said that no special situations. I personally feel there are very different situations in a woman's age of life or stage of life. And there is some situations which are comfortable, some which are not very comfortable. It could be a single mom, it could be a widow, it could be widow, and it could be a unmarried, but or it could be a divorcee, and how they need to manage in that situations. Do you advise they need to take special care of the money, and what are those things they need to take care of it?
Yeah, so as I said that each situation is different, so we cannot bundle everything together. So each special situation, say for example, if you look at a widow, a young widow and an old widow will have totally different requirements. A younger widow would probably have children who are still in school. So there will be a higher current expenses also. The goals are probably also still unfulfilled. Maybe there is a house to be bought. So there are these issues. Whereas as in case of an older widow, she's probably inheriting money. Her children are probably settled. So she just has to look at where she's going to stay and how is she going to derive income out of the investments that have been built so far, because it would be a longer period for her. So the family wealth or the inheritance from her husband, what she will be getting plus what she has built over if she has been, a professional, it would be different. So these circumstances could be different. So look at what circumstance you are in, what are your needs. The first step is to define your needs. What is it that you have to do in this situation? What is the immediate need that needs to be taken care of, and what are the further goals? So in a few years time, where do you see yourself and what position will you be in? And then you need to decide accordingly. So somebody, say for example, a single woman, in case of single women, retirement becomes a critical goal. I mean, for everybody, retirement is important. But in case of a single woman, because she herself will be responsible for taking care of everything, there will be no second person or second support or second income or inheritance probably which will come in, which will help her during her retired years. So it is extra important for a single woman to take care that there is enough money for her own retirement. So each situation is very different.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kiran. And my request with audience is please put your questions in Q&A. We will keep taking those questions from both of them. And before I start with the questions, I have one question with you, Amit. There was a report of Standard & Poor which says 80% of Indian women who may not be possessing the knowledge to handle the financial matters. And there is one side you have an income gap, other side you have a literacy gap, and how this gender gap can be built. I mean, I know most of you are personal finance authors in India doing a lot of things to educate, but can you suggest something around?
Yeah, so first of all, let me just clarify. And if this report says 80% of women acknowledge that they don't know enough, doesn't mean that more men know. It could also mean that a less number of men acknowledge that they don't know. That's also quite possible. So let's accept that financial literacy is an area of concern for everybody, simply because we are not taught this subject in the schools or colleges. The schools and colleges, the education equips us to earn money, but what to do with that earned money is not taught. There have been some attempts at introducing some of these subjects in the schools, and the regulators are doing a fabulous job. There is an institution called National Center for Financial Education. They are doing a fabulous job. So first of all, I would say let's go back to the children and catch them young. So NCFE, National Center for Financial Education, they conduct a test every year across India called National Financial Literacy Aptitude Test, NFLET. So it happens sometime in October, November every year, and the children can participate in that exam through the schools. It's a quite simple but very detailed exam on personal finance, and I would encourage that all the parents listening should go back to the school and say that for my kid, we want to enroll. And I think it starts from 6th standard till 12th standard. The exams are conducted. And why am I saying children? There is an indirect benefit, because the moment a child gets into any such competitive examination, the parent also ends up learning something. So we have a tendency that we sit with the child and teach the child. So in the process, we also learn. That's a good starting point. And this is basic subject level knowledge. And still, I know many parents who in the financial services field, when they looked at the syllabus, they realized that some of the things they were not aware of. So that's number one starting point. Number two is, as Kiran mentioned in the beginning, this subject is not a difficult subject. It's all about deciding what kind of life that you want to live. And for that purpose, money becomes an important tool. So let's also understand money is a tool. It's the life which is more important. And that tool has to be managed. That tool has to be used. And slowly and gradually. So first thing that you can do is, when somebody is discussing this, which means your financial advisor, or even when you go to the bank and for loan, or even basic bank account related queries, ask questions and try to understand. And what do you understand? The basic question is, how does it fit into my scheme of things? And number two, what can go wrong, and what if something goes wrong? Where is the backup? What do I do? What is a fallback? The entire subject of money management can also be seen as a subject of risk management. What are the risks? So let's say if an earning member of the family passes away early, then there is a loss to the family in terms of not getting that income. That risk has to be managed through life insurance. If somebody falls sick and there is a huge hospitalization bill, that risk can be managed through health insurance. When I invest my money for long periods, what if something goes wrong there? That is investment risk management. It is all about risk management. So ask this question, what can go wrong? And if something goes wrong, what is the remedy? What is the fallback? Try to understand these questions. And then, of course, there are many resources. There are webinars like this. There are newspapers and magazines. Economic Times carries a wonderful supplement called ET Wealth. It's a beautiful supplement that comes out regularly, a weekly supplement. You must read it. Of course, the website is also very, very, very rich. Aditya Birla Sun Life Mutual Fund has also got a very, very rich website on investor education. Go there, spend time. There are articles, blogs, there are videos, there are podcasts, a whole host of things. And each of the regulators, which is Reserve Bank of India, Securities and Exchange Board of India, insurance regulator IRDAI, and pension regulator PFRDA, all of them have investor education sections on their respective websites. So you can, enough number of resources are available. And then there are a few, books written by Indian authors in the Indian context. So you can, so that way it's an ocean available out there.
Thank you so much, Amit. It's indeed great. I'll take the questions from the audience. This is the first question coming from Imakshi. Imakshi Singh is asking, I'll put this question to Kiranji. Kiranji, what she says is, how do we maintain our financial folders since we are multitasking and it is difficult to manage and track financial investments? So what is a good way to do the monitoring and tracking?
Himakshi, I understand the challenge because there's so much paper that comes into, into our houses that we don't know what to do and how to handle these things. What I would suggest is just have some simple folders on, say, your laptop or your computer, which first of all details what you own. So where have you invested? What are your loans? So put down the details. So if there is a need, you can quickly refer to that and get back to the further details in that. Within this, this will be a summarized portion of your investments and your loans. You can then create separate folders, say, for your investments details. So you can have your statements from your NSDL, which will cover all the equity investments. You can also have folders regarding insurance, all your insurance policies in one place, so that if there is any need, say health insurance claim has to be put in, so you have the insurance details in one place. So just keep these information, and if you have any people who are advising you on these products, be in touch with them, because they will definitely have a compiled data on all your investments done through these people, and they can help you out on that. And there are some online portals also which help you compile your investments and insurance policies. Maybe you can look through those also. Some of them are paid resources, so you can utilize their services and put all your information at one place. I think, sir, are we giving the booklet of information where we can collate all the information? So
let me try with my colleagues who are giving the booklets. I'll share that link. Yeah.
So there is a link which is going to be provided to you, which is like a small compendium of things that you need to take care of. So that could form the base of creating your own folders on your investment.
Yeah, that would be nice. And thanks so much for that answer. And here is a question coming from Ms. Jyoti. I'll talk, Amit, this question to you. Is it a good idea to invest in gold bars and coins for the future of the family?
Gold is an important asset class, and to that extent, it could be considered for investment. However, the question is, why do you need to invest in gold? What is the basic purpose? And if I can see, the question says for future of the family. Yes, of course, any investment is for the future. And what do you want to do at what point in time? So have you defined a goal? So in many Indian families, one of the goals is that we have to give gold at the time of the marriage of the son or the daughter. Now, if that's the purpose, then you can accumulate gold in small quantities. So that's okay. But there are other, efficient ways of investing in gold now. Earlier, we only had the gold coins and bars and stuff like that. But today, there are financial instruments which would allow you to invest smaller amounts at whatever frequency that you want. You can do a systematic investing in those. You can buy at lower maintenance costs, because when you buy a gold bar or a coin, the storage costs, etc., we normally don't count, but that does cost. You do put it in a locker or at a safe place. Theft is a risk that we don't count. Or even the quality of gold we don't know. The buying and selling also happens at different prices, so those costs we are not including typically. Look at two options. One is the gold mutual funds, either as gold ETFs, exchange traded funds, or gold savings funds, which are open-ended funds. So that's one option. Mutual funds have a provision to invest in gold, and you can invest as low as 500 rupees to as much as you want. The money is invested in the fund buys gold, and that gold is with some custodian, and the annual expenses are also quite reasonable. So to that extent, it's not very costly. Number two is the sovereign gold bonds, which you can consider, which is guaranteed by Government of India, and to that extent, that's also quite safe, and you get some interest on that. So these are two good options that you can consider.
Yeah. Next question, I'll come to you, Kiranji. This is the same question. Rekha, how to monitor our investments? I think Kiranji has just answered. We have shared the link. You can download this book. This is a PDF one. You can write. You can fill that pre-fill. You can fill all your investments. Either you can print it or you can save it the folder that can help you to organize your finances. Here is a question from anonymous attendee. Kiranji, this is a question to you. What is the best to invest for a woman of the age 22 to 24 who has just started the career?
It is a very broad question. A 22 to 24-year-old can have different requirements. I have a 25-year-old who's got two siblings yet in school, and father is retired, so she has a family responsibility. I have another 25-year-old whose father and mother both are still working, and so she is basically totally independent. Her money is not needed for the family requirement. So I don't know the requirement of this person, but on a broader basis, when we look at a 25-year-old person, the biggest plus point that they have is they have a very, very long investment horizon in front of them. So if I look at a earning age from 22 to say 60 till the time she's going to retire, it is a perfect thing for investment in equity. It's a very, very long period. Start investing in equity mutual funds. Keep on investing regularly. Don't break. And maybe you can consider it as an investment for your retirement. So this would be sacrosanct. So even if when you grow in your career and your salary goes up, this portion which is going to towards this retirement fund, you don't touch it for any other requirement. Just let it continue, even if it is just 10% of your existing salary. So let it continue, and you will see the power of compounding, and you will see after say maybe 7-8 years, what is the wealth that you have created. So by the time you're 30, it will be a beautiful corpus that you've already created. And I hope that inspires you to continue further and increase your investments going ahead, because what happens at 60 is something that you cannot even imagine.
Yeah. The next question, I'll come back. I think this is a question coming from Urvashi. One question: where can we learn about the financial investments in a simple language if we are not well versed in finances? Before I hand over this question to Amit, I would like to answer is please visit our website at Aditya Birla Capital, the mutualfunds.com. Mutual funds are the Aditya Birla Capital, and you have a separate section on investor education. You have various modules in multiple languages. You have podcasts, you have blogs, anything, and there are much of content downloadable and disorganized. This is from my side, but I'll hand over to Amit to guide further, because they themselves have written few great books disorganizing.
Thank you, sir. So I'll start from point 2, because you mentioned the point number 1, which I had in mind. RBI, Reserve Bank of India, on their website has got some wonderful literature on money. Not exactly personal finance, but they have put it in the comics form. So any school-going child also would enjoy, and a 70-80-year-old would also enjoy. So they beautifully prepared this small booklets, downloadable for free. You can take a look at that. Go to the website of National Center for Financial Education, ncfe.org. They also have a lot of material, and apart from the Aditya Birla Mutual Funds website, Kiran and I have done a few programs which are where the links are available on YouTube. You can go and search in our name. Just be very careful. I have a more popular namesake, so ensure that you don't start listening to the music and stick to only personal finance. But look at Amit Trivedi and mention Karma Yoga. So you'll get whatever videos are there. And Kiran has also got done some videos which are available on YouTube. You can always look at that. Apart from that, as I was mentioning, there are a few books which are available in the public domain on personal finance. While what Kiran and I have written are not absolutely basic level, slightly higher level, but Kiran's book on mindful retirement is something which is more holistic book on retirement, not retirement in terms of financial planning, but how do you plan your retirement life with various angles covered. So that's a wonderful book that you can look at. Monica Halan's book called Let's Talk Money is a brilliant book. It's sort of a best primer that I can think of. Or P.V. Subramaniam's book called Retire Rich, Invest ₹40 a Day. These are some of the books that you can look at.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And here is some question which is similar to what was there earlier. Kiranji, again, it's question to you. This is Jaslyn Kaur. I mean, I'm glad, most of them, they're very keen. And she's asking, hello, sir, I would like to ask that how can a youth who has just started earning and save her money would like to invest our income? I mean, where do they? And similar to that question, there is an extension which is coming from Jyoti. Being an early investor, can ELSS be considered as a safer option compared to multi-cap funds? Friends, in the meanwhile, I also posted one more link where you can download a magazine on the personal finance, which is talking about how you can budget yourself, and even an article on the women and money. Yeah, over to you.
Yeah. So the question is again very broad-based. So I would like to divide it into two parts. One is, first of all, define your needs. So is there something that you're going to spend on in the next few years? So if you are very young and probably this is your first job, are you yet looking to go for higher studies? So that could be something which is going to come up in the next few years. Or is it that you are, when you get married, is it that you're going to take care of your own expenses? I mean, or support your, family in the expenses towards the marriage. So these are typical goals for very, very young earners. If there are these needs, you need to look at debt funds, or you need to look at, based on your tax slab, how much you're earning. You need to look even at recurring deposits in banks, though the interest levels will be very low. But that will help you accumulate funds for these very near-term goals. So maybe if you're going for education in 1 or 2 years, you can look at a combination of debt funds and maybe a recurring deposit. That again will depend on what is your tax slab. Some portion of your income, definitely look at equity funds. As I said, retirement is a key goal for any person. So even if it is 1,000 rupees or 2,000 rupees that you can invest, put that money into equity mutual funds for a very long term. And select a simple, if you don't understand, just select an index fund. Otherwise, you can speak to a distributor of mutual funds, or you can go to a financial advisor who will guide you what funds are suitable for you, and you can invest accordingly. So this will also help you discipline your investing. So because mutual fund investing is very simple in terms of how you invest. So once your KYC is done, if you start a monthly SIP, because you're earning a salary, you're earning every month. So you have a capacity to save every month. And if that gets automated, you don't have to think twice, or you don't have to do any paperwork further to make that investment. So in a very disciplined manner, some portion of your earning is getting invested every month. So an SIP could be a good way to start investing, maybe both for short term and long term. So short term, what I mentioned, the debt funds also have SIP options. So you can accumulate on a monthly basis into a debt mutual fund as well. So look at these two broad areas and start investing based on your particular needs.
Thank you so much, Kiran. And Amit, this question, it's a wonderful to listen, get this question. This is coming from a student, Vishaka Ajavia. I mean, Vishaka is asking, as a student, what can be the best investment for me? One is investing in ourselves on studies first.
Absolutely.
And
education. So Benjamin Franklin has famously said that the best investment is in yourself. It pays the highest interest. So obviously, I'll go to the next one, which is the financial investments. But as a student, if you are able to save some money, or if you are earning as part of some projects or some stipend, internship, etc., I think it's a wonderful idea to consider saving part of that somewhere. If you do not have time to study investments at this stage, then I'll start with the simplest possible, and then I'll go slightly higher on the difficulty levels. But the simplest is start a recurring deposit in a bank. That's the simplest thing that you can do. Whichever bank you got an account, do a recurring deposit or start doing a fixed deposit in that bank if you don't have a regular income. But if you want to go further, then the next level of investment is what I would suggest is hire experts, and these experts are mutual funds. So consider investing through mutual funds, and just understand why I said through mutual funds and not in mutual funds. Because in mutual funds, you are outsourcing the investment management job, and that investment manager then handles your investments in line with whatever the scheme's objectives are. And so you choose a scheme which matches with your requirement. There are liquid funds which are reasonably safe. You can park money slowly and gradually. You can build your kitty. You will not earn much in that product, but at least you'll get confidence of parking your money somewhere. And once you are comfortable giving your money to somebody, then you can go up on the risk side. From liquid fund, get to a debt fund. From debt fund, slowly and gradually move on to an equity fund. But please remember all the discussion that we had prior to your question. Identify what is your objective. Initially, it's okay to accumulate small corpus, but without reason, why do you want to accumulate? There has to be a reason, and that reason is nothing but your financial goal. Identify those goals. Yes, Kiran.
If I may add something, sir,
Yeah, please,
on this,
please,
see,
please.
usually I feel if somebody is investing at such a young age, it could also be with an idea to learn. So while we are talking about recurring deposits and debt mutual funds, which are relatively safer products, if somebody wants to learn, say, equity investing or investing in stocks, that could be a good idea to utilize that small amount of money. And even if you make mistakes, even if you lose that money, consider that as a tuition fee for learning these life skills. So I think that could also be a good perspective to have. And
that's a good perspective too.
Yeah, it's fabulous. I think, otherwise, I can tell Ms. Vishakha, you can come join as an intern and we can tell you what you need to do and what are the various options are coming to us.
Super.
It's great to have. And this will be a last question. I think, paucity of time, there are many questions which are coming in. Probably one question for each one of you.
Sure.
This is two are not mutual fund questions, but Amit, this question is coming from Ms. Jyoti. She's asking, is Bitcoin is a good investment for the long term?
So, okay, so my view is not liked by many, but nevertheless, Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency, and the value of currency is when it is used as a means of exchange. If it is not used as a means of exchange, then there is no value. Now, how much is the acceptance of Bitcoin is number one. Number two, the speed at which the price of Bitcoin has gone up, there is a tendency to hold Bitcoin and not use it as a means of exchange, which means more number of people hold Bitcoins and keep it as long-term investments. Just tell me how many of you would be comfortable buying US dollars as long-term investments? US dollar is a currency of a country. Bitcoin is the currency in the cyber world. Can you park your money in a currency of some other place as a means of investment? If your answer is yes, fair enough. Next point is a lot of people consider it as an equivalent of gold, that people have for years invested in gold and as a store of value. Can Bitcoin be a store of value? Yes, Bitcoin can be a store of value. Anything can be a store of value so long as there is somebody else who also sees value in the same thing. And if somebody sees that tomorrow it could be highly valued, so I will buy it tomorrow. It doesn't make sense, no? If tomorrow it is going to hold a lot of value, then everybody would want to buy it today. And when everybody wants to buy it today, the price would go up. And this is basic demand supply economics. I'm not inventing my theories. My sense is Bitcoin, if it becomes a means of exchange, use it as a currency. I'm not comfortable investing in Bitcoin.
Great. Thank you so much for that answer. And then I'll go back to Kiran for the last question. This is a question coming from Dhaval Panchal. I mean, can huge sums of money like inherited money can be invested in mutual funds?
Of course, why not? So mutual funds is one of the ways that you can route your money to different asset classes. So be it debt or be it equity or gold. So it doesn't matter where the money is coming from, whether it is from your income, from your business, or as an inheritance. So the route followed will be the same. So what are you investing for? If it is inherited money, are you going to use it for your current expenses, or are there any future goals which are there for your family for which you're going to use it? Or is it just wealth that you're creating for your family for generations? So in all purposes, you can use various tools to invest the money, and mutual fund is one of those tools. So you select whether you want to use mutual funds or you want to buy bonds or you want to buy stocks directly. So it is your call. So mutual funds definitely offers you everything under one umbrella in a very transparent manner.
Thank you so much, Kiran. And it's very interesting session. Thanks to both of you for sharing your insights. It's glad. And thanks audience for being here on the account of International Women's Day and talking about the wealth and women, how we need to do. It was very nice to have this session. The whole conversation was why should we understand money and why women should understand money. And of course, Ayn Rand has said money is only a tool, it will take you wherever you want, but all that you need to be you be the driver in the seat. Money cannot replace you as the driver. This whole effort is to how you can become better in managing the money, and managing the money, the best way to is what is your priorities, and when you differentiate between savings and investing. And I keep putting into the acronym. I mean, managing the money needs a 4G network. It's a 4Gs is first you get your money, then you need to grow your money, then you need to protect, that is you have to grow, you have to guard your money, and the last is the charity, or a success, you have to give it to your successors, is a give your money. How you need to do, I mean, and the universal principles of the money is the building blocks which we discussed with Amit and Kiran was, first is to know yourself, then know your financial goals, then how you need to understand your risk reward mechanism, then you need to understand how you are investing, it's like how you can get the benefit of rupee cost averaging or power of compounding, and what kind of first allocation you need to have, what age and stage of life, and how the mutual funds can help you to diversify your investments. All that needing to get, changing the mindset, how you need to manage, and that leads to the financial independence or financial freedom or financial the net worth which is changing. And probably we have various discussions around questions which are coming in, how you can pay yourself first, and how you need to differentiate between your needs and wants, how you need to invest better. And of course, but last but not the least is time is more valuable than the money. And it's ensure that you invest for a longer time, you can make the money growing for you. And women, since live for longer than the men, and there is every reason you need to take care of your money much better than the men. And time has come for you to take over the money and take little efforts to put your little more time understanding money. And this Women's Day, it is a theme, as I said, is the theme is choose to challenge. Probably not only for this Women's Day, but this choose to challenge should be our way of life. Probably when it comes to money, choose to challenge the way you spend, choose to challenge the way you invest, choose to challenge how you have your financial conversations at home. Then once you change your habits, and once you start investing, and once you get yourself empowered, and once you get a right advisor like Kiranji and guiding you, I'm sure it is going to help you to healthier, wealthier, and wiser. And women known for caring, sharing, and the most supportive. And this money can work for you for more caring, more sharing, and more supportive. And with this, we will stop here. And probably, before coming to the session, I had a conversation with my wife. And I was telling today I am going for a different manicure and pedicure. And this manicure is mutual funds, alternate assets, and MANI, right? It's new investment structures. And pedicure for us is today, it's a pension, equity, debt, and insurance. How you can use your new manicure and pedicure to make your life better. And we look forward and all the good luck. Enjoy celebrating the womanhood, and that's what International Women's Day is meant for. This is the 90th year. I'm sure it will change the way it is happening, and wishing you all the good luck. Happy investing, and God bless you all. And thank you so much for being here. Thanks to Money Gurukul. Over to Dimple.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. It was a very interesting session. I also thank the speakers, Mr. Amit Trivedi and Ms. Kiran Telang. It was a pleasure hearing all of you on this important issue of money management, which of course is very important in today's time, especially for women. So thank you again for this engaging and perspective session. I hope that leaves the viewers with a lot of rewarding insights. I thank the audience as well for being a part of Economic Times Money Gurukul conversation. We look forward to seeing you again very soon. Have a good day, stay safe and healthy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.